Hey everybody, thank you for joining us tonight from wherever you are in the world. My name's Dan Doyle. Welcome to Expert in the House. I'm from Sydney, Australia. I'm an ambassador with a company called ASEA, and tonight I'm going to talk about the single greatest health science, anti-aging and sports performance breakthrough of our lifetime. I'm going to talk to you about some breakthrough products and technology. There's several reasons why people look at this breakthrough technology. One, you may have a health challenge yourself. You may know somebody, a loved one or a friend that may have a health challenge. You may not like the way you look or feel anymore as you're aging. You may understand the concept of looking after yourself through nutrition, food, diet, and an exercise. You may be an athlete, or you may be looking for an opportunity. I want everybody who hasn't seen this presentation to relax, because I'm not here to sell you anything tonight or convince you of anything. I'm here to pass on information that you can do whatever you like with, but I can tell you now that you really need to know about this for the sake of you and your loved ones. Before I go into my story and what this is, I just want to go through the company disclaimer. You can see a couple of products up on the screen. You can see the ASEA Redox supplement, the Renew 28, and also we have a serum which you put on your face as well. And these products are not intended to treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any disease or medical condition. So I just want to be upfront with that. That is the company disclaimer. What we're talking about is a product technology that can empower the body to heal itself. So as I said when I first came on, that this technology, ASEA, is nothing less than the single greatest health science, anti-aging, and sports performance breakthrough of our lifetime. So I'm going to take you through my journey now, my story. I'll keep the long story short, but I'll go back to my teens where I used to play rugby league, and I did judo, gymnastics, aerobics, and surfed. But I also did this thing called bodybuilding. This was me at the age of 24, going for the state titles in New South Wales in the next week. I was very serious about my sports, as I was to everything I did in life, traditional business, and excelled highly in really anything that I wanted to do, whether it be sports or business. Fast forwarding to the age 44, 20 years later, I look like this. So don't think I don't exercise. This photo is me literally in the gym at 6:30 in the morning, not as a bodybuilder, not doing heavy weights, but at 44 wanting to look the best I could for when I was 50 years old. And this was the start of me sort of making a comeback with getting to the gym and doing a lot of cardiovascular work. I didn't know at this point that I was in serious trouble with my health. As much as I looked like this and I felt good, I was in a lot of trouble with my health. I found a little lump underneath my left rib, and 6 months later, in May 2011, I got some really bad news. And this is a photo of me with no hair from the top of my head to my toes, where I spent 2.5 years in a second home in a hospital here in Sydney. What I went through, I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. This is a really fake smile. I wasn't feeling well at all in this photo. And next to me is a friend of mine, Johnny Manor, who played for the Parramatta Eels and Cronulla Sharks. Johnny's brother Tim Manor still plays for the Parramatta Eels. He's the captain. In this photo, Johnny was 21. He went through what I'd already been through with all these hospital visits. He had the good one. I had the bad one. He got through it to this point, but within 2 years it came back. Johnny ended up in hospital again with all those hospital visits, and we lost him at the age of 23 years old. After I went through 2.5 years of what I went through in this hospital in Sydney, my doctors told me to get my affairs in order. I was in shock. I called them a few names. I thought I was going to be okay after what they did to me all that time, but that wasn't going to be the case. So after putting my health in their hands and then giving me that news, I made a decision at that point to take the responsibility of my health back into my own hands. And I did some research, and all that research led to an alkaline diet. So all the things that I used to do and drink and eat and love, I literally had to give away, because I wanted to empower my body for my body to head in the direction that I needed it to. So red meat, chicken, alcohol, and all these things were out the door. I was very strict on this alkaline diet. And I also spent a lot of money on nutritional supplements to also feed my cells, to feed my body the right things to move my health forward. Unfortunately, all these products that I spent a lot of money on from companies around the world, like Zango's Mangosteen and Isagenix Product B, Cellgevity from LifeVantage, and Protandem and Kangen Water, and all these things I spent a lot of money on, money that I didn't have at the time with what I'd been through. Unfortunately, didn't do anything. So a direct result of 2 years on this diet and all these products, this is where I ended up. So my skin's an indication of what was still going on in the inside, and my blood works were still the same. They were still actually heading in the wrong direction. I looked like this. I actually looked 10 to 20 years older than what I did before I started everything in that hospital. So things weren't good. This is October 2014 when a friend of mine, Bart Cotter, called me from America, and all he said to me was, I think I found something that could help. So within a week, I flew across to the United States to a place I've never heard of, Salt Lake City. Took a friend of mine, Malcolm Sword, Mal. He'd been fighting skin challenges and issues for 40 years, spent over $100,000 on his skin issues. He came with us to America to have a look at this breakthrough for our health. And we ended up in the boardroom of this company called ASEA. And ASEA is a cellular health company. These bottles were actually sitting on the table when the atomic and medical physicist, Dr. Gary Samuelson, was talking about the breakthrough in the science and what this was. And all and was that what was in the 100% non-toxic, and it could have health benefits. And the great thing was it was free, so we were gorging it down. I went through about half a bottle while sitting there, and the meeting wrapped up, the presentation finished. We went back to the hotel room. We were going to have showers and get ready to go to dinner with the owners of the company, Tyler Norton, Vertus Norton, and also Dr. Gary Samuelson and all the executives of the company. And I took off my shirt to have a shower, and I'm covered in these little tiny red spots all over my chest, my back, and my shoulders. And at that stage, I didn't realize at the time, but what I was going through was what I was trying to achieve in 2 years prior to this photo, and that was to detox my body, to get rid of anything in there that wasn't supposed to be in there, to move my health forward. And that was the first win. I'd consider that a first win on this product. I tested this stuff the next day, and I woke up the next morning, I went to breakfast. Now for 20 years, I've had a caffeine intolerance. Any more than 2 coffees, I'm buckled over with issues and uncomfortable all day. And the next morning I had 6 coffees, and I went through the whole day, and there was nothing to remind me of what I endured for 20 years. So this is only 12 hours later. So this is my second win in a very short period of time. The day after that, long story short, I had so much lung damage from what I experienced in that hospital. I was having trouble breathing and talking at the same time, walking upstairs, walking up hills. It was a real effort for me. You can tell I don't have that problem anymore because within 48 hours, my lungs were functioning perfectly. And that was my first 3 major wins on this product within a 48-hour period. I went back to Australia. Do you think I kept drinking this product? Of course I did. We're paying a fortune to get it in because it wasn't here, wasn't approved. We're paying double shipping. It was costing $300 delivered for 4 of these nearly 1 litre bottles. So we keep getting it into Australia. I knew I needed the product. I knew what it did for me, and I was hoping, that it was going to keep improving my health. And basically, after 8 months, because I came from a situation where I was very successful in traditional business, but unfortunately, with what I went through, we lost everything financially. So after 8 months of consuming the product, only a bottle a week, knowing I needed a lot more, I could finally afford to take enough product or more product, the product that I needed to help my body to heal. And I went up to at least half a bottle a day in June 2015. So that was 8 months after I started. By December 2015, if you guys can recall what date this is October 2014. So just over a year later in December 2015, the doctors gave me some very good news. And this is a photo of me on the day. They told me the two major issues, not one, but two major issues that I had that they had no answers for, they couldn't find any sign of. And I still get 6 monthly checkups. And yesterday, my bloods were totally pristine, as they have been since 2015. And there's no sign of this problem that my doctor still tells me that's coming back, but in 100% of cases. But I can tell you now, and I told him yesterday that I'm going to bugger up his statistics. So in this photo, by this stage, I'd also gone through a lot of other changes. I had multiple injuries from playing sports from 30 to 40 years prior to this photo. Injuries that were getting worse every year. I had a neck problem, I had a shoulder problem, I had a hand problem, I had hip problems, pelvic problems, back problems, major issues that were getting worse and worse every year that I didn't have at this stage in this photo, because my whole body had been rebuilt in 2015, including pollen problems and sneezing and running nose and sniffing things up my nose in the morning from the pharmacy that wasn't doing me any good, that I used for 20 years, that I didn't have to use by the time I took this photo. The next photo, that's my journey back to health. The next photo is, I suppose, something that I didn't expect, because I came from these sports that I did and going fishing and everything. A lot of stuff was outdoors, so I never used any sunblock, sunscreen. As a matter of fact, we used to bake with coconut oil. So I had a lot of freckles. You can see it in this photo here. But mind you, this is after a year. I was in a lot worse situation. This was my skin prior. And the next photo just shows how I've gone from this photo to 2 years later, and everything's just being cleaned up and cleared up from what this technology can do for the body, for the skin, for everything. So I'm just going to step back and just show you that again, from those hospital visits to obviously 2 years on that alkaline diet and spending a fortune on these nutritional supplements. And obviously after 2.5 years of hospital visits, this was the result. And then to just over 12 months on this product, and then 2 years later, and as you can see, what I look like now, nearly a year after that again. I'm just going to stop sharing the screen and